What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play DGS. I am at the menu screen because I wanted to show you what was on the menu at the moment. I never actually saw this particular screen before. I was under the impression we were gonna just have the Japanese courtroom showing in here, but I guess you can also see the inside of the ship because we are in case 2 now. So, let's continue on because I believe we were in the middle of talking to Mr. Holmes. There's my stylus. There's my stylus. Alright, next one is, what is this? His deductions earlier. About the deductions you made earlier, the ones about me. Right now, you find yourself in a major predicament. Is that what you mean? Actually, I was hoping you could tell me about the other ones. The part about how I was a refugee from Russia and a revolutionary. And that I assassinated 16 people. Oh, that part. It was quite a simple deduction, really. I have here the morning paper. The front page article is as such. Revolutionary Dmitry Demoglatsky heads seaward, seeking refuge from Russia. The ship made port in Shanghai yesterday. The very same evening, a Russian was murdered. Since when has Asogi been Russian? It seems that he's thought to have been Russian thanks to the message left on the floor. That can only mean that the killer was none other than this cruel revolutionary. This revolutionary who, upon having his true identity discovered, murdered the accomplice who'd been helping him flee his country. That means you, Dmitry Demoglatsky. No, I mean, for starters. There's no resemblance. His face and mine. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary, after all. Perhaps you're also capable of revolutionizing your own face. Ugh, is that what you think? By the way, your name also doesn't appear on the ship's registry. That's fairly decisive, wouldn't you say? Well, I am a stowaway, after all. Then, what about the part about him having assassinated 16 people and planning to blow up the Crystal Tower? Right! Actually, that's written in this newspaper article here. The main crimes he's perpetrated so far, and the ones he plans to commit in the future. They came straight from revolutionary Dmitry's mouth. In that case, there can be no mistake, wouldn't you say? So, revolutionaries allow themselves to be interviewed by newspapers. So then, what about the first thing you said? The part about me being on my way home from Afghanistan. That was also written here in the paper. It says he just finished some subversive action at the site of a bloody Afghani battle and was returning home. To be honest, I've never heard of Afghanistan. I mean... Ah, right. Let me give you this newspaper as a token of friendship. Thank you very much. I've already finished reading it, you see, and disposing of it would be a hassle. Front page article, Russian newspaper, Demoglatsky seeking refuge from Russia. On that note, the article on the backside of that paper is also quite interesting. On the backside? You ought to consider reading it. It might fill you in on Russian affairs. A newspaper in Russian, huh? I can't read a single word. Well, since I already have it, I might as well glance at the article on the back too. What were you investigating? Come to think of it, you were investigating Asogi's desk earlier, right? Asogi? Ah, you mean the victim. Was there anything that caught your attention? Please direct your attention to the desk's surface. It appears that the victim was in the process of writing something. London Travel Journal. These are his memoirs. But I don't think it's right to snoop on something that the recently departed have written. Well now, you should have told me that before I read it. You read it already? I may not look it, but I can read simple Japanese. Is that right? You're gonna get flipped by Susato-san, you know? About the famous detectives Susato tossed? Huh? Whatever do you mean? Wow! That's not fair. That is really not fair! More importantly, in regards to the victim's journal, you let a random detective look through his books, but you can't let his best friend read the book? Thanks, Susato. It appears that the final sentence ends prematurely. Perhaps you could tell me what's written here. But didn't you say that you could read Japanese? I also said I could only read simple Japanese. For example, harakiri and the like. What do you think? Pretty impressive, eh? Right. I think he was trying to say hiragana. This is loaded with kanji. I can only read the simple letters at the end of the words. Yep, you're like me, Sherlock. I would just be like kanji, hiragana stuff. Looks like the bragging he did earlier was completely unmerited.
Let me see it, please. I'll read it for you.
Sure, now then. If you be so kind.
There are 2 sentences written on the final page of this journal. 1:23 a.m. I hear a sound like a low whistle.
A whistle? That's fascinating.
And the other one says, 1:35 a.m. I can see a speckled rope inside the vent.
A speckled rope? I wonder what that means.
I'm not sure. I've never heard such a thing.
A vent, eh? It seems likely that. It must refer to that shaft connecting to this cabin to the one next door, of course. The cabin next door, huh? Sogi's journal. Last thing he ever wrote before our arrival in London. According to the note written right before his death, it seems that he saw a speckled rope. Now then, you'll have to excuse me for the time being.
Where to?
To be honest, there was something in the victim's journal that caught my interest. I thought I'd look into it. If I hold still for too long, I'm susceptible to seasickness, you see.
Could it be that you plan to go to the cabin next door that's connected to this one via the vent?
Famous detectives are sad creatures who lose their reason for being if there aren't mysteries that need solving. There's no need to worry. I'm sure the truth will come to light very soon.
Would you mind if we went with you?
Huh. That might be a bit difficult.
Why is that?
You needn't even ask. Just look down at your own hands and you'll understand. Oh, these. After all, as of right now, you're the culprit in this case, right?
Right.
Could you not say that so casually? The one who decided that I was the culprit was you. What do you mean? I don't recall ever stating that you were the culprit.
No, I'm sure you did. You said it just a second ago, too.
You don't understand either, do you? There's no way I would have said something like that.
Home-sama, I'm afraid I heard you say it as well.
Oh, is that so? Now that's odd. After all, you've got an awfully clueless expression for a killer. The so-called famous detective finished his statement by looking at me right in the eyes. Well, never mind. That was that, and this is this, you see?
What do you mean?
In other words, just this. If you're the culprit, then roll over and be quiet like the criminal you are. Sherlock. Sherlock. Holy crap. That was harsh. Sherlock, please. It's hard to believe, but he left, still laughing. The famous detective.
Come now, Hanaruhodo-sama. What are you grumbling about? We need to go too, quickly, to investigate the cabin next door. But look at me. I'm kind of stuck here, so... Toy!
That didn't give me a lot of time.
Kazuma-sama went to all the trouble of leaving us a clue. Are you telling me you're just going to roll over and be quiet?
Ugh, why is everyone so mean? Anyway, it seems like there are still some things in this room that we should investigate. Let's wait for our chance to search the cabin next door while continuing our investigation in here.
Right.
Even like this, I should still be able to do things. I have to blaze my own trail, for Asogi's sake. Let's talk to the sailor. Do you have a moment? What? Actually, there's a favor I'd like to ask. Would you allow me to investigate outside this cabin? I was told the Japanese don't tell jokes, but I guess that's not true. Eh? Imagine, a killer just asking, would you let me escape? That's a pretty funny joke. Well, we're in the middle of the ocean. I'm not really sure where I could run to. In any case, you can't leave this cabin until we make port in Hong Kong and we can hand you over to the police. So no, you may not. Fine. I guess there was no point asking this crew member. Alright, Time being, let's examine... Oops. I am pushing wrong buttons. Movement, that's movement.
It's an article in Russian. I can't read it at all.
Me either. I don't know a single word of Russian. Well, if you're going to get so disappointed about it, I suppose I can tell you. Hi, Sherlock! This newspaper's front page contains an article about a fearsome Russian. Revolutionary Dmitry Demoglaski. Head seaward. Oh, wait. Revolution Dmitry Demoglaski, head seaward. Seeking refuge from Russia, it says. You told us that much earlier. No one who's seen that beard of his has lived to tell the tale.
Oh my, that is quite fearsome.
At the very least, the person who took this photo seems to have made it out okay. For starters, if they want to prevent people from seeing his beard, he should be able to shave it off.
I can't help feeling that's not the issue.
This is
something the matter, Naruhodo-sama?
No, I was just wondering what this article on the back page. That's all.
I can't read a single letter of this article.
Neither can I, but judging by this picture, it might be an article about a beautiful dancing princess.
Wow, she certainly is lovely. Is she your type?
My type? I don't know about that. Ah, you have quite a discerning eye to have noticed this article.
Ah!
I'll give you a summary of the contents of this article, shall I?
Yes, please.
I didn't even know he was here. This is an article about a missing person incident that occurred last night. Russia's esteemed Novovich Ballet Troupe's prima ballerina, missing. The single girl vanished from the Russian ballet troupe after a performance in Shanghai. And that girl is the lovely ballerina, Nikomina Vorshvik. Russian names sure are hard to remember. Apparently she vanished from the music hall still wearing her dance costume. And that diamond tiara she's wearing is valued at 20,000 rubles. How much is 20,000 rubles?
I haven't the slightest idea, but I'm sure it's a fortune we can only dream of.
Tasato-san's eyes are sparkling. The tiara belonged to the ballet troupe, so it seems that the head of the troupe is on the brink of insanity over it. Well, I guess that's only natural. So in hopes of getting both the tiara and Miss Nikomina back, they've requested the search of every port between Shanghai and England.
I wonder if she also became a refugee.
Yeah, I guess there's more about refugees that feels like they're a Russian specialty.
I'm not sure it's prudent to say such things.
the update. Oh, okay, she did translate the movement dialogue, so let me see if I can... Alright. Thanks to that famous detective, it'll be even harder for me to leave this cabin now. For now, I should stick to searching this cabin high and low, and collect more information. Alright. We're gonna examine the door now.
When we rushed in here earlier, this door was bolted firmly shut from the inside.
It's a pretty small and flimsy looking bolt that can only be slid to one side, but I guess it still would have been impossible to enter or escape from this room, wouldn't it? So it's not unreasonable for them to suspect me. I can feel Susato-san's blazing gaze in my spine. So, have you ever read about the situation like this in a detective's novel? Where they use a needle and thread to move a bolt from outside the room?
oh, yes, that's that old trick. I'm also an avid reader of detective novels. However, this door and its frame are both made of iron, so neither a needle nor thread would be of any use here.
I can feel Susato's needle-sharp gaze in my spine. Huh? That man there.
Oh, the crew member. He wasn't there a moment ago, was he?
That's what I was thinking.
If you're curious about him, I think we should go see what he has to say.
I might end up getting yelled at again, but I guess I'll try calling out to him. Hello, person. You seem awfully familiar.
Are? Oh, what is it, Naruhodo-sama?
Nothing. It's just that crew member standing next to the door. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before.
Now that you mention it, I also get that feeling. Excuse me.
Yes, may I be of some assistance? Hosanaga? That face. It couldn't be. It could be! It is!
Is that you, Detective Hosanaga?
It's been a while. What are you doing here? I believe that's my line. I was so shocked that my heart stopped.
Don't you mean I thought it would stop?
I received special orders to go undercover on this ship. Again?
You certainly must like it, going undercover.
If there's anything I may do for you, please don't hesitate to let me know. It'd be that this detective would be the one to help us turn this awful situation around. I don't know, but we'll find out, right? Let's talk. Special orders. So, you say you received special orders again?
Moreover, you were made to dress up again.
My apologies.
Huh?
This is all my fault. What is? I was tasked with acting as Asogi-sama's bodyguard. His study abroad went ahead because he had the support of the prison director of the Ministry of Justice, and I was told to ensure that Asogi-sama arrived in England without being assassinated. Assassinated? Is it a possibility that's what this was? I'm afraid I don't know, but what I do know is that various concerns have been raised among the world's major powers, and the current state of things has become rather complicated. We must consider every possibility. That's what the Minister of Justice said. What's going on here?
But Kazuma-sama, assassinated?
We couldn't let it be known that he was being guarded, so
it was decided that I would pose as a crew member aboard the ship. I see. From morning until he returned here to his cabin at night, I didn't let him out of my sight. And yet, I never dreamed that anything would happen to him while he was encased in his private quarters. I failed my mission and allowed Asogi-sama to die. I have no right to face any of you. My deepest apologies. Detective Hosonaga. If there's anything I can do for you, please, let me know at once.
Well, thank you. We know exactly what we want to do, but first, before I do that, let's present my student badge.
Detective, about this. That's the fabled Yume University badge, is it not? Yes. I'm not sure about the fable part, though. In other words, you're a student, correct? That makes you fundamentally different from me, who went to a simple, ordinary secondary school. That's what you're trying to say, isn't it? Excuse me, can I have my badge back? Oh god!
Anyway, presenting the banner.
This is the banner that was hanging on the closet this morning, isn't it? Yeah, if a crew member had happened to open it, I would have been found. That was your intent. Wouldn't you have been better off writing it in English instead of Akiruna? But banners are an important part of our country's culture, wouldn't you agree? Besides, I guess it must have been unsettling enough to do the trick because no one opened it. I didn't realize what a difficult life stowaways have.
We're presenting the crime scene photo. Oh, goody.
About this. Is something wrong? Pardon me. I was attempting to hide how disturbed I was by doing the especially violent coughing I so excel at. But my breathing got caught, and that caused my coughs to catch as well. Detective Hosonaga-sama. Sogi-sama's talent was a national treasure, upon which the great Japanese Empire's future relied. And yet, although I'm a detective, as soon as he came into my care... Sogi.
Presenting the newspaper?
About this newspaper. I'm terribly sorry. I'm afraid I can't read Russian. That's alright. We already know what's it about. In other words, you wish to rub my nose in your superior linguistic abilities, honor student. That makes you fundamentally different from me, who went to a simple, ordinary secondary school. That's what you're trying to say, isn't it? Sorry I asked.
Okay. There was no more on that one, so... Permission to investigate.
We're investigating Asogi's death right now. Just as I thought. You aren't the killer, are you? Of course not! We would like to investigate the cabin next door. So, please, grant us permission to leave this cabin. My deepest apologies. You're currently classified as a dangerous individual on the ship. The moment you attempt to open that door to leave this cabin, that fellow from the Alacre will pop your head from your neck. Because I'm a stowaway, and the murderer of one of my countrymen? If possible, would you provide me with something that might be used to convince him? Something to convince him? You were able to show some grounds, for you need to investigate the cabin next door. I, Hosonaga, would put my life on the line to convince the captain to allow it. But that's... There is one way. What? How is that? What you did to me earlier, Naruhodo-sama. Present evidence before his very eyes. Evidence. You've already done it numerous times in court. Touch the present button on the panel. Let's show something to Detective Hosonaga-sama. Something that shows us a need for us to check out the cabin next door, huh? Alright, I should have something to prove our need. Present, huh? Let's give it a try.
We indeed have something we can present, and that is Asogi's journal. What might this be? It's Asogi's journal.
Kazuma-sama recorded some strange observations right before his death.
Strange?
I observed a speckled rope in the vent, it says.
A speckled rope, you say? That certainly is a strange observation. We still don't know what he meant, but it does stand out to me. Yes, I understand why. The vent, eh?
It can only refer to one, Detective.
I see your point. That vent does indeed connect to the neighboring cabin. If we're able to investigate over there, we might be able to find out what this speckled rope was that he saw. Very well. Eh? I also am not permitted to leave this room at the moment. Not until the ship arrives at the next port. My orders from the captain were to keep a strict eye on the crime scene. I have no choice but to entrust you two with the investigating.
You mean it?
I'm afraid I cannot remove your shackles, but you may explore the first-class block freely. But are you sure that's okay? What about the captain's orders? I will do as I have promised. I will put my life on the line in an attempt to persuade the captain. I was unable to protect Asogi-sama. However, I will consider this a step towards atonement. Thank you very much.
In that case, let us be off, Naruhodo-sama. By touching the move button, we'll be able to leave this cabin.
Move, huh? Alright, let's give this a try. Movement it is. Now we can move. I'm gonna just scroll down a little. There's stuff in here? Alright, it didn't give me a description of what Susato says or about the cabin itself, but this one does have some dialogue, so I'm just gonna pause here for a second so I can put the translations up. Then we can go. The same day at 7:48 a.m., the RFS Alucre, first class corridor. We were finally able to leave that cabin. Even so, I'm a bit surprised. It's unexpectedly small, isn't it? This hallway outside the cabin.
Indeed. Kazuma-sama was an exchange student sent by the Japanese government, so he was provided with the most luxurious lodgings on the steamship, first class. By the way, my cabin in third class is approximately half the size.
That's some pretty harsh treatment. Look over there. The tough-looking crew member keeping watch over there.
That door leads to cabin block 2. He's been stationed there to ensure that no suspicious characters can enter.
Suspicious characters, huh? Like me, I guess.
In any case, Naruhodo-sama, it's been about half a month since we departed, and yet your eyes are shining as if this is your first time seeing this.
Well, it is, remember? I came on board stuffed in Asogi's trunk. After that, I've been stuffed in the closet until just today.
That certainly sounds like quite the ordeal.
Could you please not look at me like that? No, seriously, that really sucks. Like, did Asogi at least let him sleep on the bed every once in a while? I mean, that's terrible. Anyway, I think we're like almost about over now, so we're gonna stop here and continue on into the next video, investigating the corridor area of this place, and probably into the room next door. See you guys then!
Is that what you think?
By the way, your name also doesn't appear on this ship's registry. That's fairly decisive, wouldn't you say?
Well, I am a stowaway after all. Then, what about the part about him having assassinated 16 people and planning to blow up the Crystal Tower?
Right. Actually, that's written in this newspaper article here. The main crimes he's perpetrated so far, and the ones he plans to commit in the future. They came straight from revolutionary Dimitri's mouth. In that case, there can be no mistake, wouldn't you say?
So, revolutionaries allow themselves to be interviewed by newspapers.
So then, what about the first thing you said? The part about me being on my way home from Afghanistan? What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play DGS. I am at the menu screen because I wanted to show you what was on the menu at the moment. I never actually saw this particular screen before. I was under the impression we were gonna just have the Japanese courtroom showing in here, but I guess you can also see the inside of the ship because we are in case 2 now. So, let's continue on because I believe we were in the middle of talking to Mr. Holmes. There's my stylus. There's my stylus. Alright, next one is, what is this? That was also written here in the paper. It says he just finished some subversive action at the site of a bloody Afghani battle and was returning home.
To be honest, I've never heard of Afghanistan. I mean...
Ah, right. Let me give you this newspaper as a token of friendship.
Thank you very much.
I've already finished reading it, you see, and disposing of it would be a hassle. Front page article, Russian newspaper, Demoglaski seeking refuge from Russia. On that note, the article on the backside of that paper is also quite interesting.
On the backside?
Shanghai yesterday. The very same evening, a Russian was murdered.
Since when has a Sogi been Russian? It seems that he's thought to have been Russian thanks to the message left on the floor.
That can only mean that the killer was none other than this cruel revolutionary. This revolutionary who, upon having his true identity discovered, murdered the accomplice who'd been helping him flee his country. That means you, Dmitri Demoglaski.
No, I mean, for starters, there's no resemblance. His face and mine.
Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary, after all. Perhaps you're also capable of revolutionizing your own face.
Ugh.
His deductions earlier.
About the deductions you made earlier, the ones about me.
Right now, you find yourself in a major predicament. Is that what you mean?
Actually, I was hoping you could tell me about the other ones. The part about how I was a refugee from Russia and a revolutionary, and that I assassinated 16 people.
Oh, that part. It was quite a simple deduction, really. I have here the morning paper. The front page article is as such. Revolutionary Dmitri Demoglaski heads seaward, seeking refuge from Russia. The ship made port in